How'd it feel to be out there today? How'd it feel to get a jersey back on and be around?
It felt better being out here than it did when I was laying in bed last night, going over the playbook, certain things like that. When we went to the meetings yesterday, I felt super overwhelmed. I think I was starting to get a little bit too hard on myself because it's different. The routes are different. There's a lot of different ways you can break on the routes, the footwork, the certain windows that you hit and how quick they happen. You know, what was different. So I think I was feeling a little bit overwhelmed, and the way practice is set up, I feel Coach Jones does it is nice for a guy like me to be able to get out there and sit behind and hear what the play is and get the concept down and see how it happens from some of the other guys. So it was good to put the jersey back on it, but more than anything, I think it was good to really see some of the things develop that I didn't understand on the playbook last night.
When there's new quarterbacks that come up here, we oftentimes ask them what detail is it that they find most interesting or most challenging. Some it's the extra man, it's the yard off the ball, the waggle, the depth of the field. I'm not going to ask you to dissect the Canadian game after one practice, but what do you think is one in your mind that you want to work on the most?
Spacing is a little bit different on the defensive side, if I had to look at anything, and the way that they pass certain things off in zone coverage seems to be a little bit different. Man is man pretty much, except there's an extra like hook defender essentially, but stuff on offense is I haven't ever ran this many routes that are predicated off one defender or certain, you know, sometimes it's progression read in the NFL or things like that. This is more of every route has an opportunity to break 3 or 4 different ways, which is different. But you know, I think it gives you the versatility and the offensive weapons to be able to attack coverages more intensely than it would just running a fixed route.
Sorry. Throw a wide side out. How far did that feel?
Well, when I was with June and worked out with him a couple times last year, I got a chance to really feel that. We were on American field and way outside the normal hash, so I felt that throw on the quick like out. But the whole shot where you're throwing it into like a cover 2 hole is definitely a long throw. Me and Berner and the rest of the guys were looking at each other, and it was earlier in the day and we hadn't really warmed up a lot. But you know, it's all about timing. I mean, when we watched some of the tapes that June threw up from last year, what Jeremiah did such a good job of was getting things out quickly and putting it, you know, in those holes in the zone defense, you know, because they close pretty quick. So I think that's the biggest thing. If you're going to see that coverage, and you're going to see that, if you get it out of your hand quicker, maybe it doesn't become as strained of a throw from being late.
First day and then with the new group of teammates, what's that like, walking into a room with a bunch of new guys, all of whom will know who you are and where you come from?
Yeah, everybody's been great to me. I think it's a little bit better when you get out on the film or on the field rather than just walking around in meetings and stuff like that. You know, I think I was a little reserved and probably a little held back yesterday because I'm just trying to find where do we go eat, where do our meetings at, where are we staying, what's the situation for the next couple of weeks. So, you know, it's just piecing things together one after another. But being in the locker room, being on the field today, it opens people up a lot more as far as, you know, getting a chance to talk. You talk about the route, then it goes to other things. You know, just starting to learn things about my teammates. I'm going to be here for a while.
How's that mattress in the dorm room there?
It's not bad. I definitely I was a little tired yesterday. I had that red-eye flight and then got in at 6 and then had about 3 hours at the border. And then, you know, I got to sleep probably about like 2 o'clock last night. So I'm probably still, you know, I'm on West Coast time a little bit still. So I'll get caught up hopefully in the next couple of days. But, you know, just trying to rest up as much as I can and at the same time, you know, really trying to attack like repetition of these concepts of these routes of this footwork and just continuing to do it because that's the way I learn, is just like drilling it into my head.
Is it sort of settling in now, this sort of enormity of what's in front of you? Like, wow, this is really a lot to take on in terms of the game and the offense and everything else? I
had heard from the people that I had asked that it's obviously different. The receivers that I've talked to are like, this is a piece of cake whenever you come up here, and I'm like, I bet it is, when you just have to know, you know, what your formation is and do you motion and how you break it off. But, you know, when there's splits, when there's, you know, a formation, when there's a protection, when there's being hot, when they break it off, when there's all that thrown into the mix and you're responsible for where everybody's lined up, that adds an extra piece to the puzzle. So, you know, I definitely did yesterday see how big of a jump it's going to be for me. You know, if I go into an NFL camp, I sit there and I pretty much able to pick up everything on defense, you know, in a day one camp. Here it's not the case. So that's the difference in that. And, you know, I stated yesterday, I know it's going to be, you know, a time thing and it's going to take some time, but now I even see more so. So like I said yesterday, my expectations are tempered, and, you know, I'm glad just to be back around the guys. I'm glad to be throwing the football. I'm glad to be learning, you know, new things, but you know, it'll be a process.
How did you finally make the decision to come up here? Because there was some talk about maybe playing in the Alliance of American Football. So what finally clinched it for you?
Yeah, they definitely reached out a little bit, but then I'm going through another fall. I'm going through being up here July, August, September, October, November, December of no football, and then I'm waiting until February to play again. And like that's been a hard point for me in my personal life. Has been, you know, what do I do with my time? You know, you can only work out and do so much football stuff if you're not actually playing. So I didn't want to wait. You know, I didn't want to go do that and then something happened like the spring league where maybe I don't get signed and then I'm looking to come up here next year, and then I'm a year behind again, and then I'm trying to you know, figure out what I'm doing at 28 years old versus being a little bit younger. So more than anything, I think the biggest thing that made me feel comfortable about coming up here was Coach Jones, and the way that he said the quarterback room was, and the way he said this team was, and the guys that we have here. So a lot of people that I've trusted and talked to in the NFL circles really like June and really like his potential to help quarterbacks, and that's what I'm here for, is to get better no matter what.
Johnny, I understand right now your focus is what's going on in the field, but the CFL is really a community that kind of feels a lot like college teams, right?
Mm-hmm.
The way the communities are. Is it important to you when you have fans who are going to be here in Hamilton? I'm sure, I don't know if you've heard, they're passionate about their team. How important is it that they get to know you as well?
Oh, for sure. It's definitely important. Coach Jones stressed yesterday that, you know, this is the only big sports team, you know, here in Hamilton. So he made it very clear that we do a lot in the community and we will be around. You know, I plan on spending a lot of time here. I don't plan on really going anywhere else. So it's definitely important to me. I'll be out here. You know, I'll take care of these guys the way that I would if I was anywhere else, when I was at A&M or I was in Cleveland or anything like that. You know, this is a team that I'm a part of. This is a fan base that is behind this team. And I'm excited to be a part of it. You know, I've heard nothing but great things.
You've got a rocky past. 2016 domestic assault charges. Should Hamiltonians be concerned about that?
I've been very, you know, upfront with my past and the fact that, you know, I haven't been perfect by any means. I've made mistakes as anybody else has in their past, and obviously the magnitude of my mistakes in the past are something I'm definitely not proud of. But at the end of the day, you know, I feel like I've come a long way from that person that I was at that time. You know, I feel like I've grown a lot, and I feel like through the mistakes that I made, they've turned me into a better person. They've turned me into a man. So I'm, you know, confident in the things that I'm doing to, you know, ensure my health, both physically and mentally, and the things that I do to make me a good person day in and day out. And I feel like with what I've talked with Coach and everybody in this organization about the things that I need as far as coming up here and the things that I need to do to ensure success for myself, they've put in place for me. So I'll never be able to outrun my past. I never will. The only thing I can do is grow and hopefully be a better person moving forward, and I have every intention on being that.
What are you going to do in your free time in Hamilton?
You know, we're here for the next 2 weeks, but I'm definitely looking into playing some golf. I have my car, my golf clubs, and some other things being shipped up in the next couple weeks. So, you know, I haven't been up here. I'll definitely explore a little bit around this area, and I'm looking forward to it. The weather's good right now. There's plenty of things to do, but you know, for now, I definitely have my hands full with what's going on football-wise.
Great, thanks.